I kept a crumpled grocery receipt in my wallet for 3 years, not because it was worth anything, but because every time I looked at it, I remembered the worst day of my life, and the stranger who somehow knew exactly what I was hiding. Have you ever smiled, even though you were barely holding yourself together? Yeah, that was me. 3 years ago. It was a Thursday, nothing special, at least, that's what everyone else thought. I had just left the doctor's office. The appointment didn't go the way I'd hoped. On the drive home, I couldn't even turn the radio on. I just wanted silence. My phone kept buzzing. Work, friends, my sister. I ignored every call. I didn't have the energy to explain why I wasn't okay. So instead, I pulled into a grocery store. Honestly, I didn't even need groceries. I just didn't want to go home yet. You know how sometimes walking around a store feels easier than sitting alone with your thoughts. That's exactly what I was doing. I grabbed random things. Bread, milk, eggs, a frozen pizza I probably wasn't even going to eat. By the time I reached the checkout, my mind was somewhere else. The cashier scanned everything. That'll be $42.18. I reached for my wallet. Nothing. Wrong card. I tried another. Declined. One more. Declined again. I could literally feel people waiting behind me. Nobody said anything, but I could feel it. That quiet pressure. That embarrassment. I looked at the cashier. I'm sorry. Can you take the pizza off? Then the milk. Then the eggs. One by one, I started putting things back. Not because I wanted to, because I had to. The woman behind me quietly stepped forward. She didn't sigh. She didn't roll her eyes. She simply asked, "How much is left?" The cashier looked at the screen. $18.64. The woman pulled out her card. I've got it. I turned around immediately. No, I can't let you do that. She smiled. Not the kind of smile people fake to be polite, a real one. Then she looked me straight in the eyes, and said something that completely caught me off guard. You don't look like someone who forgot their wallet. You look like someone who's carrying too much. I didn't know what to say, because she was right. She wasn't talking about money. She was talking about everything else. She paid, picked up her bags, and before leaving, she handed me the receipt. Keep it. I actually laughed. What am I gonna do with a receipt? She smiled again. Maybe one day, you'll understand. Then she walked away. I never even learned her name. Life didn't suddenly become perfect after that. Some days were still heavy. Some mornings were still hard. But every time I opened my wallet, that little receipt was still there. It reminded me of something I kept forgetting. Most people aren't asking for someone to fix their life. Sometimes, they just need one moment that reminds them they're not invisible. 3 years later, I was standing in line at the same grocery store. A young dad in front of me had a little girl sitting in the cart. His card got declined. He looked exhausted, embarrassed. He started removing groceries. First the snacks, then the cereal, then the fruit. His daughter looked at him and quietly asked, "Daddy, are we still having pancakes?" He forced a smile. "We'll make something else." That's when I reached into my wallet. The old receipt slipped out. I'd forgotten it was even there. I looked at it for a second. Then I looked at him, without thinking. I handed my card to the cashier. "I'll cover it." The dad turned around. "No. I can't ask you to do that." I smiled. "It's okay." He thanked me 3 times. I don't even remember what I said after that, but I remember walking back to my car, holding that old receipt. For the first time in 3 years, I didn't need it anymore. Not because I'd forgotten that woman, because I'd finally understood what she'd meant. Some things aren't meant to be kept forever. They're meant to be passed on. I threw the receipt away that afternoon, not out of disrespect, but because its job was finished. Funny thing is, I can't remember what groceries I bought that day. I can't remember what car she drove. I can't even remember her face anymore. But I still remember how one stranger made me feel when I needed it the most. And maybe that's the only thing people really leave behind. Not money, not words, just the way they made someone feel. So now I'm curious, what's something small that someone did for you that you still haven't forgotten?